Hello everyone and welcome back to my Bold and Beautiful 29 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ridge and Taylor break away from in grasp, with him telling his partner that they've to fight. She says she knows the symptoms of heart failure. Ridge tells her he can't and won't lose her, they can get an alternate opinion. They clinch again, fighting gashes. When they pull piecemeal, they talk about how Lee gave Taylor some croaker. Figures, with Dr. Grace Buckingham at the top. He's ready to call, and Taylor says to stop. There's no point in attesting what she formerly knows. I'm dying. But he wouldn't give up, mentioning his pater. Was the same way. We're gone now fight. Both of us, we're gone now fight. Katie pesters Will good-naturedly about immuring at Forrester. She wants him to have the occasion, but he's not sure Forrester or fashion is his thing. She just snoots. He knows she loves it, but we'll see what happens, is the stylish he gives her. Willow comes by, and Katie introduces her son to one of our top models. Willow flirts a bit and leaves, and before Katie can finish her pitch, Will, looking out towards the door, agrees to do it. A short time laterally, Kingsley, another model, walks by and sees Will in the hall, noting that he's Katie's son. She's seen snaps of him in his mama's office. He drools over her a bit, flattered after she asks if he's a model. She wishes him luck with the externship and walks off as he gapes after her with a smile. Also another intern shows up and she asks if Will works there. She hopes he will, because she'd like to get to know him more. His grin is indeed wider as she walks off. Steffi and Brook talk about how nice it's for the kiddies to have their grandmom back. And it's nice for Steffi, too, to have Taylor home. Brook says she felt the same way about her mama as Steffi does about her own. She misses her every day and wishes they had further time. She was my gemstone. So is Taylor, Steffi says. It means the world that she's back in Los Angeles. Brook thanks Steffi for supporting Brook's bedroom, also gets into it about hope for the future. Steffi knows they're trying to make it work, and she knows it not succeeding wouldn't be for a lack of trying for hope. Katie comes in just also, telling the ladies that Will's transferring seminaries then, and she floated the idea of an externship. Steffi admits there's one open now that Luna's gone. But Steffi looks a bit upset when Katie says her son isn't sure fashion is his thing. Steffi worries about what will be if she hires him and it doesn't work out, but Katie insists that her son will surprise everyone. She knows him. She goes out into the hall and brings Will in. He and Brook grasp and Steffi greets him, jumping right into questions. Your mama recommended you as being one of the interns then, but you suppose you're not the right fit, right? Yes and no, he says. The further time he spends there, the more he realizes it's where he wants to be. I wanna be a Forrester intern. Ridge and Taylor show up at Grace's office, thankful she saw them so snappily. She's happy to make time for her unborn in-laws. They also break the news that Taylor needs a top-notch cardiologist. She's been diagnosed with heart failure. Buckingham is surprised no follow-up tests were done, but Taylor says she told her croakers. No. She knows what's passing. The croaker says she wants to run tests right down so they know what they're dealing with. Taylor isn't sure, but Ridge pushes her to get the tests done. They're in LA with some of the stylish hospitals in the world. In the show's final moments, Katie tells Will how happy she's in the hall outside that he said yes. But what changed his mind? Kingsley walks in again, thrilled to hear he got the job, also wanders off saying she hopes they can work together. Me too. Katie realizes why he said yes. Just try not to spend all his time with the models and save time for his mama. Inside, Brook and Steffi talk about Will a bit, also wonder where Ridge is when Brook mentions telling him the news. I'm not sure. Perhaps he's with my mama. Brook looks uncomfortable. Over in Dr. Buckingham's office, she walks them through the first test she'd like to run, getting into specialized notes about a cardiac enzyme test to see if she suffered a heart attack. And if Taylor had one, they need to assess the damage. Taylor agrees it's just a blood test, and Grace goes out to get set up for the test. After she's gone, Ridge asks if Taylor's okay, and she says she's just allowing about her family and how she wants to be with them all for a long time. Ridge tells her to do that. Start with the tests and go from there. She's a fighter and he's sorry she's had to do this on her own, but you're not alone presently. I'm then. Let's do this together. They clinch, both crying. Ridge eventually induced Taylor to see a specialist. He was especially agitated to hear the fantastic Dr. Grace Buckingham was at the top of Lee Finnegan's cardiologist list. At Forrester Creations, Brooke reflected on how much she missed her own mama and was glad Steffi now had a chance to make up for lost time with Taylor. In the design office, Will Spencer remained skeptical about whether fashion was his thing, but he'd in commerce with a seductive model named Willow that induced him to give Forrester a pass. While Katie was pitching Steffi on the possibility of Will immuring at Forrester, Will crossed paths with another gorgeous model named Kingsley and flirted with her, too. There was also the veritably cute Lainey, who had been working at Forrester many weeks and was hopeful about Will working there as well. As Will gabbled with all these lovely youthful women, it came clear that he was liking the idea of working at Forrester more and more. Back with Katie, she learned an intern spot had indeed opened up now that Luna was gone. Katie was pleased when Steffi agreed to meet with Will, but she felt the need to advise her that Will wasn't sure about going into fashion. Still, Will eventually told Steffi that despite his original reservations, his passions had changed. The further time Will spent there, the more he realized Forrester was exactly where he wanted to be. Katie spoke with Will intimately subsequently and realized all the knockouts of Forrester affected his decision, but she didn't feel to mind. Over with Steffi again, she wondered how Bill Spencer would reply to Will working at Forrester Creations. Brooke also realized she didn't know where Ridge was, so Steffi said perhaps he was with Taylor. In Dr. Buckingham's office on Wednesday's B&B occasion, she was happy to help Taylor and Ridge since they were Paris Buckingham's future in-laws. As this sounded critical, Dr. Buckingham asked what was wrong. Taylor confessed that she'd been diagnosed with heart failure, but Dr. Buckingham was concerned about the lack of follow-up tests so far. Since they demanded to know exactly what they were dealing with, Dr. Buckingham suggested a cardiac enzyme test to start. That was a test to determine if Taylor was having or had ever suffered a heart attack. All Dr. Buckingham demanded was a simple vial of blood to assess Taylor's labels and see the extent of the damage if there was indeed heart attack substantiation. Buckingham said there were further tests they could do after that, but this was the one she recommended to begin with. Taylor remained pessimistic about all this, but she agreed to let Dr. Buckingham get the ball rolling on the cardiac enzyme test. Once Dr. Buckingham stepped out of the room, Ridge assured Taylor that she was a fighter who was strong and valorous. As Ridge got choked up, he claimed Taylor was alone presently and hugged her since they were in this together. Buckingham will pass along some surprising results soon, so stick with us for further prognostications on Taylor's future and updates on the news that awaits.